What happened? Did I fucking do that shit again? I don't even have words for this anymore. I am so sick of this, dude. God, how do I suck so fucking bad? It's such an easy section. Shit. It's far too early. Dude, oh my god, are you fucking serious? Too late. Yep. It's a new record, but man, I really want 285.2. God, this path is just fucking brutal, though. fucking finally! Thank you! Oh my god. First run since I actually went and practiced the stupid outro, because apparently I just need to do that. God! So many chokes. I think I had more chokes redoing this than I did doing it the first time. I think I actually practiced the outro the first time, so maybe that had something to fucking do with it. I just cannot believe I am so shit at some of these sections still. It just doesn't make sense. I doubt I will come back to this at this point. It's not like this was amazing, but this pretty much filled all my criteria for the score I wanted on this. I don't know how that second act connected. I really thought my whammy was just not that great. I think my front end was fine, but I'm still very surprised that second act connected. As you can see in the solo, I'm not using extended hit window. I cannot stop red flaming that solo act when I try to use it. It's just too much going on, I guess, and the fact that I'm using my pinky for it to activate it, it just is a recipe for disaster under those nerves. I could have gone into practice and tried to like work out a method to activate it with my ring finger. Even still, it's just the fact that that act is also worth the least because it's a single sustain back end, as opposed to the first act, which is just a fucking mess all around, and the last act, which is a front end, but still a chord. And at this point, I don't give a shit if I had like 5 frames of star power left over at the end. I don't think I did. I think this was very close. And these ticks really aren't that bad. The first act, part of the reason I thought my whammy was so bad is because my ticks were relatively to most of my runs good, which generally means that I held out the back end of the first act too long and didn't get frame perfect whammy, which is basically required for the second act. This time around I actually dug in a little more for the third act whammy. I strummed the 2 preceding notes in the trill to activate that early whammy a little earlier. I didn't do that the first time around because I only hit that squeeze like 3 or 4 times the first time I did this, and every single time my nerves were just going crazy. So I just wasn't risking anything. I was just trying to get first at that point, but shooting for a better score. Again, even though the act is worth the least, especially because I knew that I wasn't going gung-ho with the front end, not even, again, using extended hit window, so I wanted to try to optimize it a little bit at least. But I played this one pretty safe because I think my ticks were actually the best they've ever been up to the solo. I'll have to go back and check my first video because I had a 167k at the solo there, and that was the only time during that first grind that I got 167 to the solo. This time I got it like 3 or 4 times, but I don't think I had any more than 12, which was this run. Honestly, every time I play a run of this song through on this path, I just internally am just dumbfounded on how I'm able to hit the solo sections, just because my nerves are going crazy, and there's just so many awkward sections in this solo. The activation spot in general is just really awkward, especially with the method I use of basically using my pinky for all the blues and oranges, which once you get to that section where you're anchoring red and doing that is just, it feels like I'm just about to miss every single time. After that you have those hopo strums that, under pressure you could miss time. After that you have the whole strumming build up, which is an awkward speed and fretting. After that you have the sweeps with the sustains. I actually think I dropped couple ticks at least in that section this run, just because again I knew my ticks were pretty good. I was trying to just keep the run alive at all costs. And then of course the ending is that incredibly fast triplet pattern, which I don't think I had any chokes on that my first time around, but I did have one on this grind. And again, it's just pretty much all of those sections, but especially that and everything around the activation, the solo act spot, I just feel like I'm gonna miss every single time, and I just generally don't. That last act just sucks. It is incredibly shitty to deal with at the end after on this upper bound path specifically. And something I didn't think about before my first run to that last act is that the tempo lines are so much harder to see on Xbox. They just made them really faint and thin for some reason. It's really a problem in areas where you want to use the measure lines properly, because those are really hard to distinguish from the regular tempo lines in this version. I really hate that change. I don't know why they did it, especially because all of the increased graphical fidelity and texture quality, like, you would think it would be the other way around, that they would make them more prominent to like stick out more from the graphics. So that in itself made the last act harder to deal with on here. I'm honestly really surprised I didn't just mistime it any of these runs. I mean, debatably I did, but it really wasn't because of that. And yeah, man, I fucking hate that outro so much. I hate my own goddamn pinky, really. What a disgusting amount of chokes I had on that. The only good news is, I mean, I'd have to go back and review the acts, but I think this is as good, if not better, than basically every one of those outro chokes. So I'm at least getting, you know, the best run, but way too much time went into this redo. I just pulled up my Score Hero post from the first upper bound run and the upper bound path. I don't know what I was thinking with this description. 285.3 is probably feasible. I mean, well, I can't even say that. Maybe it is, but it feels like a mile away. And again, just holding shit together on that last act on this path, holding everything together is so fucking hard. So like I said, I'm probably not going back to this. This was really painful. And as for the upper bound score, 368. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about that, other than good luck. That was so bad. There's no way I can make up for that. What the hell? How was that the run? Why does this always happen? Why does this always happen that the runs that I mean, the second phrase whammy was honestly pretty good, but I thought, whatever. Yeah, apparently my first run through this was pretty damn good. This was hard to find 500 on, and it's kind of dumb. You know, I just got through basically telling someone in the comments that I wasn't going to be going for these 100 tick milestones, which I really don't think that I am, especially on songs that I've already redone. But something about this song just really bugged me on my first run through of it. I think it was because, like, I got the 496 and I wasn't satisfied with it really because I wanted 0.5, and then like I remember doing like another hour or so of runs and I couldn't find it. Yeah, so I just left the experience in a kind of negative space, I think is the reason I felt compelled to go back for this. But man, this was not fun. This took like almost 2 hours. God, for 8 points. But I'll take it, whatever. 248.5. On that third act, this is the highest amount I've gotten. I said this in the first run through, I remember, but I only basically got 44s after that act. And on this run through, it could have something to do with me playing on Xbox, I just have no idea. I was having off and on 44s and 48s, which this run was. That third act is really hard to push after Act 2. Everything involved in that Act 2 is just annoying as fuck. The whammy for it, the front end and the back end, it all sucks. And that's just to get a pass aboard the Last Act Express, which 99% of the time will derail and throw you off a fucking cliff. Very frustrating. I actually was about to switch off Xbox and go to PS2 for this after my first couple runs to the last act, because the tempo lines on Xbox fucking suck, man. They're awful. Basically what I was aiming for, this run I did it a little bit, just like a hair, like a frame later, or I aimed to, was to activate on the half measure mark. And on PS2, you can actually distinguish those, or at least in real time you can, and the measure lines are very pronounced. But on Xbox, you can faintly tell the measure lines. At least, I'm playing on CRT also. But I'm playing on CRT on PS2, so fuck you. But I straight up cannot tell the difference between the quarter measure and, more importantly, the half measure lines as the regular 8th tempo lines. It's fucking awful. And so what I had to do, and I've never done this before, this was the first run I completely flubbed just because it was such a weird idea for execution. I actually used the fretboard design to know where to activate, and that also was a really iffy idea because I didn't know how consistent the fretboard patterns or everything involved with the fretboard actually lines up with the chart. Thankfully it seems to be consistent every time. But yeah, the method I used to activate on that last act, because I can't tell the tempo lines apart, was to activate after the first scorpion claw. It's so fucking stupid. But yeah, that's the tempo line after that scorpion claw was the half measure mark. And thankfully on my second time onward, and there were probably 5 runs to the last act at least after my first successful last act timing using that method, it was really good. I didn't have a problem with it. It may seem like very simple, but there's a lot of pressure going into the last act, namely due to the last act whammy. So thankfully I was able to find a workaround. But yeah, that is probably my #1 complaint with the Xbox port, aside from the buffered whammy changes, which makes PS2 literally superior on many songs. Anyway, I don't see myself coming back to this. I mean, this feels weird because it's only an 8-point increase, but again, that last act is just so stupid to optimize after everything in the song. So I will gladly take this.